people, welcome to Sophia's IR channel. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the power system. This is the basic outline for today's video. I will divide this video into 4 main parts. The first 3 parts is about the explanation, strength and weakness, as well as the case studies of the unipolarity, bipolarity and multipolarity. And the last part is about the overall case studies. So let's get started. So first of all, what is unipolarity? We all know that each power system is a double-edged sword, which includes both positive and negative consequences. Let's firstly recognize the positive light in unipolarity. Unipolarity can effectively prevent the collective action problems, and it can also manage the paradox of global politics, such as in rational pursuit of self-interest, end up in a worse result had they just cooperated. Unipolarity could also allow for the provision of international public goods, which are non-excludable, non-rivals, and exhibiting jointness of supply. It also allows for organization of cooperation, such as the post-World War I US was nearly half of the world's economy, could legitimately organize the world cooperation in the area as it is such a big stakeholder. However, there is still a weakness of the unipolarity, like it has a really strict exclusion of all those who do not identify with the hegemon's political, economic, and social Russian. Secondly, what is bipolarity? Bipolarity can be defined as a system of world order in which the distribution of power is such that only 2 states have the greatest impact on the economic, military, and the global culture. For example, the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Speaking of the strength of the bipolarity, first of all, the balance of the power theory equals to stability in international relations through the statement. And there is a world order based on the sovereign equality with clearly defined territories. However, there's still some weaknesses of the bipolarity. For example, the weaker powers forced to declare the allegiance, harming their overall interest, and paralyzing of central governance mechanisms such as UNSC through the profile use of the veto during the Cold War. Last but not least, what is multipolarity? Multipolarity is like a distribution of power in which more than 2 nation-states have nearly equal amounts of military, culture, and economic influences. The most well-known example of the multipolarity is definitely the United Nations General Assembly, which also called UNGA. So why does UNGA meet the criteria of the multipolarity? UNGA, who made decision about world politics, need to be made collectively. It is an institutionally designed response to that belief. As the UN's legislative body, which is also a factor what caused the parliament of the world. So each member state within equals to 1 vote matters hugely for the adoption of the international rules and norms. So multipolarity, as my favorite power system, contains a bunch of strength. For example, the expression of the international community can achieve a great degree of authority and can also trigger the processes of the codification of drafting of treaties and etc. And multipolarity necessitated the consensus within decision making, the majorities and supermajorities, which also lead to the coalitions are essential then to its function in requiring states to identify areas of convergence. And multipolarity can also create new norms against the will of great powers. Norms equals to legitimate standards of conduct that are widely accepted in given historic periods. And state may try to conform but also draw on their own norms for their own purposes. However, it still have some weaknesses within. For example, it is difficult to find areas of agreement, especially for issues that are value-based, for example, human rights. Here, it is difficult to decide which say are right or wrong as well, as it depends on the moral judgments. Even when consensus are can be found, definitely, but it is difficult to agree on tangible action to solve specific problems, such as most states agree climate change is a significant issue in global politics, but have failed to agree that should be done to address this. Lastly, I would like to talk about the US and China rivalry. Many have argued that the rise of China is threatening American global dominance, and with it, the unipolar world that was constructed following the end of the World War in 1991. There are three dominant interpretations of this. First of all, some argue that the rise of China will lead to a return to a bipolar power system characterized by the thinking of the New Cold War. Some argue China's strength is so significant that we will see China displace the US as global hegemon, and thus remain in a unipolar world. At least, some argue that China's rise will facilitate the rise of other middle or third world power, paving the way for a multipolar power system. So I cannot tell which argument is absolutely right, and I will be more curious about what you guys think. So if you have any thoughts about these arguments, or any confusion, or interest about the concept I just mentioned, you can randomly and comment, and feel free to talk with me about these, and I'd be very happy to interact with you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. 不要忘记3连，拜拜。